Hello, and welcome to Part 1 of NJDEP's training video series on Combined Sewer Overflow, or CSO, monitoring report forms. During this video, you will receive a brief introduction to the monitoring report forms required for CSO reporting. Topics that we will cover include what a monitoring report form is, which monitoring report form is used for CSO reporting, the endorsement and submission requirements associated with CSO monitoring report forms, the benefits of submitting CSO monitoring report forms electronically, some of the specifics regarding the electronic monitoring report form submission process, including those essentials that are needed for submitting the forms electronically, and the additional training and resources that are available for monitoring report forms. Before we discuss the specific monitoring report form that CSO permittees will be required to report information on, let's first discuss what a monitoring report form is. A monitoring report form is a standard NJDEP form for the reporting of self-monitoring results by NJDEP's permittees. These forms are generated based on the monitoring requirements contained within Part 3 of the NJDEP's permits. There are three different types of monitoring report forms: DMRs, WCRs, and RTRs. Discharge monitoring reports, or DMRs, are forms used for reporting data on both limited and non-limited parameters. These forms can accommodate multiple parameters with differing monitoring frequencies. Waste characterization reports, or WCRs, are NJDEP forms that are mostly used for reporting data for non-limited parameters, where the requirement is monitor and report only. In contrast to the DMR, the monitoring frequency for all parameters identified on a WCR is the same. In other words, the frequency by which data is reported for parameters on a WCR is dictated solely by the submission frequency of the form itself. For example, monthly, quarterly, annually, etc. Residuals transfer reports, or RTRs, are used to report and track quantities of sludge volumes transferred inter and intra-facility. So which monitoring report form is used for CSO reporting? For the purposes of CSO reporting, permittees will be required to report on DMRs. Here is an example of what a DMR form will look like in January of 2016 for the outfall with the lowest numerical monitor and location designator. Depending on the outfall number and the timing within the permit cycle, actual CSO DMRs may vary slightly from this example. Variations in the CSO DMRs will be further explored in more detail during the second part of this training series. Each CSO DMR must be certified by the highest-ranking licensed operator of the treatment works, having day-to-day managerial and operational responsibilities for the treatment works, including the responsibility to authorize capital expenditures or hire personnel. Where a local agency has contracted with another entity to operate the treatment works, the highest-ranking official of the contracted entity, and not of the local agency, shall certify the DMR. If the official certifying the DMR does not have the responsibility to authorize capital expenditures and hire personnel for the local agency, the person having those responsibilities shall also certify the DMR. Doing so indicates that this person has received and reviewed the DMR form. Lastly, any official required to certify the DMR may delegate that responsibility to another high-ranking official consistent with the provisions of NJAC 7:14A 4.9b. In other words, the official required to certify the DMR must submit a one-time written correspondence to the department providing the authorization that another named person may certify the DMRs on their behalf. Consistent with the permit, CSO DMRs are required to be submitted to NJDEP at a monthly frequency, due 25 days after the last day of the monitoring period. Since the effective date of all CSO permits is July 1, 2015, all permittees are required to submit their first DMR on or before August 25, 2015. Once the DMRs are completed, there are two methods by which they can be submitted to the department. The permittee can either mail hard copies to the department or, more preferably, can submit them electronically via NJDEP's Electronic Monitoring Report Form Submission Service. The latter is strongly encouraged by the department because of the many benefits associated with electronic reporting of DMRs. First, participating in the electronic reporting of DMRs provides a cost savings to the permittees by eliminating the paper, envelopes, postage, and handling needed to mail the forms. In addition, because of the 5-year record-keeping requirements contained within the CSO permits and the record retention policies placed on NJDEP by governing laws and regulations, electronic reporting provides a cost savings to both the permittees and NJDEP by eliminating the physical storage capacity needed for completed and submitted DMRs. Second, due to the built-in form validations inherent to the electronic MRF submission service, and the fact that the submitted information is not open to interpretation, submission of MRF data electronically results in an improved quality of data flow to the NJDEP. Also, as a result of the electronic submission of DMR data, information is immediately made available to NJDEP staff in a format that is readily accessible, improving the NJDEP's efficiency in data analysis, compliance assessment, and decision-making. But these aren't the only benefits to electronically reporting DMRs. There are also many conveniences to the electronic reporting of DMRs using the NJDEP's electronic MRF submission service. First, by using the service, permittees will have timely access to their most up-to-date forms. This becomes particularly beneficial when permit renewals or modifications occur that directly impact the information provided on the DMRs. In those cases, the DMRs provided through the electronic service are automatically refreshed upon the effective date of the permit action and are immediately made available through the service. Second, should it be necessary, for example in the case of a lost internet connection, another convenience of using the NJDEP's electronic service is that completed electronic DMR forms may be printed, certified, and subsequently submitted via regular mail in order to comply with the form submission deadline. Thirdly, once the DMRs are submitted through the electronic service, the permittee receives immediate feedback that the form has been submitted, ultimately providing the permittee with the receipt for the DMR submission. This occurs through a simple message that is displayed through the portal, as well as a subsequent email communication. In addition, the NJDEP's electronic MRF submission service allows 24/7 access to the DMRs, facilitating the opportunity for timely submittals. Also, through the submission service, facility administrators, if necessary, will have the ability to easily manage the submission of DMRs from multiple NJDEP's facilities and permits. Lastly, through the electronic service, flexibility is available for the facility administrator to delegate management of their account online. For example, the facility administrator would be able to allow a person to download and upload the DMRs, but not allow them to certify the forms. Electronic reporting is also an environmentally friendly means by which information can be transmitted to the department. There is no paper to file, which ultimately saves trees over time. As well as the many benefits associated with electronic reporting, the process by which DMRs are submitted is relatively simple. First, the permittee accesses the NJDEP Monitoring Reports service through the NJDEP online portal. Next, the permittee searches for and selects their facility. Under their facility window, the list of available DMRs will be provided. The permittee then downloads their desired DMR as an Excel file to their hard drive. After subsequently opening the file from their hard drive, completing the DMR submittal form and the DMR electronic shell, the permittee then validates, locks, and uploads the DMR to the electronic system. Lastly, the permittee certifies the uploaded DMR. In providing you with an idea on how similar the electronic CSO DMR shell is to the paper copy of the form, here is the paper copy. And here is an example of an electronic shell downloaded from the NJDEP electronic MRF submission service. As you can see, the electronic shell is a close replica of the DMR in paper form. In addition to the benefits and simplicity of MRF electronic reporting, it is important to note that the EPA views electronic reporting of NPDES data as a means to saving time and resources for permittees, states, tribes, territories, and EPA, while improving compliance and providing better protection of the nation's waters. As such, on July 30th, 2013, EPA proposed new rules that will require NPDES regulated entities to submit various permit and compliance monitoring information, including DMRs, electronically. Based on the rule as currently proposed, regulated entities will be required to electronically submit DMRs beginning 1 year after the effective date of the rule. EPA anticipates adoption of a final rule in October 2015, with an effective date of the rule sometime in December 2015. Now, if after hearing all about electronic DMR reporting, you are interested in submitting your forms electronically, there are certain essentials that are needed at a minimum. In order to participate in the program, the permittee must possess or have access to a personal computer with a Windows operating system. It is recommended that the operating system be the Windows 7 version or later, since this is the version that NJDEP Online was optimized to. In addition, the permittee must possess Internet access with at least Internet Explorer version 9 or Firefox version 26 web browsers, an email address, Microsoft Excel, and electronic storage such as a hard drive. In addition, the permittee must execute an agreement with the NJDEP for the electronic submission of DMR data. The electronic MRF submission service agreement, called the NJDEP's EDI agreement, can be downloaded from the department's website. Here we have a copy of the NJDEP's EDI agreement. On the form, the permittee will need to provide information on the permits for which DMRs will be submitted electronically. For example, NJDEP's number and facility name. In addition, information on the person or persons that will manage the electronic submission of the forms, also referred to as the facility administrator, will need to be provided. For example, their name, email address, and their NJDEP online user ID. Lastly, information on the responsible official and their certification will need to be provided in the agreement. Please note that there are additional training and resources available regarding submission of monitoring report forms, including DMRs. On the department's website, noted on the slide, there is a multitude of information available, including the do's and don'ts of MRFs, the NJDEP's monitoring report form manual, presentations on the electronic submission of MRFs, the NJDEP's electronic MRF submission service agreement form, also called the NJDEP's EDI agreement, and the NJDEP's EDI reference manual. In addition, Rutgers offers DMR training as part of their continuing professional education program. For this program, training contact hours and continuing education units are available for New Jersey wastewater licensed operators. Please visit the identified website for further information. In this video, we have explored what a monitoring report form is and have identified that the monitoring report form used for CSO reporting is the Discharge Monitoring Report, or DMR. We have also covered the endorsement and submission requirements associated with CSO DMRs. In addition to discussing the benefits of submitting CSO DMRs electronically, we've explored some of the specifics regarding the electronic DMR submission process, including those essentials that are needed for submitting the forms electronically. Lastly, we have seen the additional training and resources that are available on DMRs and monitoring report forms in general. In the second part of this training series, we will explore the details of a CSO DMR and its associated submittal form. In addition, parameter by parameter, we will complete a DMR using a series of hypothetical examples. If you have any questions regarding DMRs, please don't hesitate to contact Debbie Espasti of the Division of Water Quality's Permit Administration section. This concludes Part 1 of NJDEP's training video series on combined sewer overflow monitoring report forms. Thank you for your time.